If you are seeing other girls, I don't need to be one of them. If you're a foreigner guy that comes to Thailand and can't get a girlfriend, they don't got riz.
And what eventually led you to settling in Bangkok, Thailand?
Whoa, this is a bit deep.
So in this video, we meet my friend Joyce. Joyce moved to Bangkok, Thailand 2 years ago at the age of 23 from America. And since then, she's made a name, quite the name for herself, building up all her social media platforms. But one thing I learned about Joyce as a solo female traveler, she is quite the survivalist. In this video, we sit down and we get to meet Joyce and what led her to this decision of uprooting as a young solo female traveler to settling here in Bangkok, Thailand. And here's the juicy part, and her experiences dating as a foreign woman, dating the local men here. Let's go meet Joyce. So I'm trying to think about the most unique way of starting this video. My channel is a predominantly male channel that I usually interview, but we're gonna try something a little bit different. We're gonna be interviewing my friend Joyce here. She is not a man. She is not 35 plus. She is actually a Gen Z Asian American, Chinese American woman that, how long have you moved over here? 2-3 years ago?
2 years.
She has moved over here to Bangkok, Thailand as a fellow expat, and she's done quite well for herself, putting out a ton of content on her lifestyle over on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, and she's, for that short 2 years that she's lived here in Bangkok, Thailand as a non-male expat, you've grown quite significantly with all your social media channels, promoting Thai lifestyle, Thai culture, and expat life over here. So I just want to say fantastic job, but I'm more curious to get to know about Joyce and how your whole thought process, what led you living in America and what led you to move over to Bangkok, Thailand. One thing that the audience should know is that most Asian Americans, we account for 6% of the country's population. And a lot of Asian Americans, we live in coastal states like in New York or California or Washington State. But then that wasn't for your case. You grew up in the Midwest.
Actually, I was born in California.
You were born in California.
But our family moved to South Dakota in 2010. So for half of my life, I was in South Dakota.
I'm very curious to hear about an Asian American growing up in the Midwest. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Joyce Sin. If you don't mind giving us a quick background about your upbringing. So you were born in Sacramento, and how long have you lived in Sacramento for?
Until 2010. But my memory of it is pretty vague because I was a kid, I didn't really know anything.
Yeah.
And then after going to South Dakota, I was working at my parents' restaurant. It was kind of like free labor for shelter, because it's like if you don't work, you don't get to live in the house type of thing. But also it's nice to help your family. You
said restaurant, right?
Yeah, it was a Chinese restaurant in the Midwest.
You worked at your family's Chinese restaurant in South Dakota. What was your lifestyle like? You went to high school there, or?
High school.
You went to high school there. I take it you were the only Asian American there. How was your experiences?
So actually, our family was like the only Asian family in that city or town. It was about 6,000 people.
Wow.
And I don't remember there were any Asians because like I try to erase the memory of me in the U.S. It was kind of sad. They weren't racist in our face, but you just feel different.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like they would talk about you behind your back, like, oh, small eyes or flat nose. Or they make fun of your language, but they would never do it in your face, but you just feel like someone might be gossiping about you. And because we had a restaurant, so sometimes I feel like they were like people might approach because they want a discount at the restaurant.
They wanted a discount.
It's what I think,
yeah.
Maybe. So that's why I tell my mom, like, don't give anyone discount. Even if they're our friend or a teacher, because business like teen one teen.
Yeah.
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 Money is money.
Money is money.
Business is business. Yeah, so that's why I don't really rely on connections or networking even today, because I feel like I can get it myself. So that came from me, like back then I feel like people approached because they wanted free food. People around your town wanted only to approach you because of potentially discounts for food and that's how I feel. Maybe it's not the case. Yeah. But there are exceptions. Like our neighbors were really nice, like 2 couples, and they were really wholesome. But then we had another neighbor that had dogs that bark all the time, and I low-key don't like dogs that bark. So it was like always loud and noisy. Did you have a lot of school friends, and did your family have a lot of friends, or
Did you guys just mostly work internally?
It was only us. I mean, we had a few, I had like a couple of friends in high school, but we're not that close anymore. And I don't think I vibe with them that much.
How come you guys weren't that close? Is it probably because you guys grew apart after high school?
Culture. And we just have our own lives and different paths.
Judging from the videos, Chinese American culture, like I know where you're coming from, like, you have your own ecosystem. What was your friends' ecosystem like? Were they had their lifestyle of like, I don't know what South Dakotans do. I take it they like hunting, they like fishing, more outdoor stuff. Is that it?
That's it, but my friend was introvert.
Yeah.
But it was common to have cowboy or rodeo or ranching or hunting.
Hunting. You're not into cowboy, rodeo, ranching, hunting. Okay.
I'm the stay-at-home, watch series type of girl.
So I take it that was pretty much the quintessential part of your high school. After you graduated from high school, what happened next?
I went to college in the state, and I spent about 10,000 USD for my bachelor degree. I didn't stay at the dorm. I took a lot of online classes. And I was just there for the idea of getting a bachelor degree because it sounds better.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't really believe in going to university. It's like if you can make money without going to university, then don't go to university. Even though I'm not encouraging you to not study, but it's like it's more about your ability to make money and survive.
Do you feel like with today's generation, a bachelor's degree is more or less like you can do without it? You'll be fine without it?
I think you'll be fine without it, but it just sounds kind of cool to have one and for just in case. So I still would recommend doing it, but it's not necessary.
So it's more of a backup in your eyes.
Yeah.
And then you graduated from university in South Dakota. Once you graduated from university, if you don't mind me asking, what did you graduated with your emphasis on?
It was business administration, specializing in marketing. But to be honest, I never really paid attention in class. I was just there to pass the class, get the grade, get the degree. But now I realize what I kind of learned back then kind of applies to me today because it's like marketing and positioning.
Once you graduated from college, what was the next step? Like, what did you do afterwards?
I worked at my parents' restaurant still.
Yeah.
So basically my whole life I never worked an actual job. I just worked at my parents' restaurant. And then I did a bit of traveling, but then I would always go back to that town. And then every time I go back, I would be like, this is not the life I want to live.
And I take it your travels were overseas?
Yeah, they were overseas in Asia. It would be weeks or months, like 1 month at a time, and then I go back. And then eventually I went to Thailand in 2022, and then I went back home for 3 months, and that was the point where I was like, I cannot do this forever. Like I need to book a one-way ticket and leave, which I did. So then I was solo traveling for 2.5 months, and then I ended up in Bangkok.
Yeah.
But when I left home, I didn't know that I was gonna end up here. Like in my subconscious mind, I was like, I wanna be here, or I like Thailand, but I didn't know how.
So when you made these trips, where did you travel in between working at your family's restaurant? You said Asia. What countries in Asia did you travel to?
Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Canada, Japan, South Korea.
Did you have family in any of those countries?
No.
None?
No, it was more like solo travel, or I meet friends that live in those places.
Yeah. And if you can briefly tell me about your experiences, like going to Hong Kong and Singapore and like Japan. I mean, did you feel like was it a lot of more cultural similarities? You fit in much more?
Appearance-wise, I feel like I fit in more because everyone is Asian, and I feel like being a minority wasn't an issue anymore. And it was just eye-opening for me because I never experienced public transit. I never experienced like a safe place where like I'm not gonna get mugged.
Did you feel a little bit of danger when you lived in South Dakota?
Actually, our town is pretty safe, but I still felt like, oh, what if someone broke into our house?
Yeah.
Or like, what if? You never know.
Yeah.
But here, I feel like let's say Japan, I felt really safe. Like that was not my concern at all.
Yeah. Japan is super safe.
So it's kind of like the hierarchy of needs. The safety is gone.
Yeah. So safety is good, and then you can freely enjoy yourself and express yourself, and just be you. I remember when we first met, you were telling me that growing up you would watch a lot of series, you would watch a lot of TVB. just a lot of either Mandarin programs or Taiwanese programs or Hong Kong programs. And from your early life exposure of watching all these series and stuff, and then for you to translate that over to visiting these countries, how was that transition? It's like, was it pretty seamless or any obstacles?
Watching those series is more like to give me a sense of home because I don't see that when I go to school in the US. So I kind of want, how can I get exposed to the Asian language, which is through watching series. And then once I go to those countries, it feels like I went into the series.
You went into the series?
Yeah, but smaller in real life because on the screen it looks bigger, and then when I get there I'm like, this is it.
Oh, this is underwhelming. Like if you were to go to Hong Kong and if you went to like a random like Ta Ta Tang and you talk to some grumpy auntie, then you're just like, wow, okay, it's a different experience then. After traveling through all these countries and kind of giving you a different sense of life, and the way of life, and then going back to South Dakota, you came to the conclusion that this is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to fit in. What was your analysis of like, okay, I need to leave South Dakota. Which country should I go to? And then I'm sure you were brainstorming which countries that you can live in as an expat. And what eventually led you to settling in Bangkok, Thailand?
Whoa, this is a bit deep, and it kind of triggered my memories of 2 years ago. Yeah, which
Good.
is kind of fading, Like I keep looking at the future, but I forget, I once had to do this. But to be honest, the hardest part is booking the flight. That was the hardest part for me because I'm like, how am I gonna get money? How am I gonna go to places with a backpack and a small suitcase? So my decision was I went to Taiwan first because I've never been there and I heard that it's really safe, which it is. When I went there, I felt super safe as a solo female. And then I went to Japan and Hong Kong before settling in Bangkok. And I went to Hong Kong because it was homey and also safe. So actually safety was a big thing, and the language. Safety and language.
Why Bangkok, Thailand and not Hong Kong from our ancestral homeland or Taiwan, or why Thailand?
I am the most happy in Thailand. Even though I've only been here once before actually coming the second time, but my second time was already like I'm settling down.
Yeah.
I'm the most happy, and people are different here. Like they don't really judge you. They might look at you and be like, and laugh a little bit, but it's not like they're making fun of you. They just think, you're cute, or that's funny, but then they move on with their day.
Yeah. Compared to like an older Hong Kong auntie, or like, what the hell are you doing?
Actually, I realized Hong Kong people specifically, not all, but in general, they're pretty negative and judgy.
They can be.
Every time you say, let's say your dream was to be an actor, the first thing they say is, how come you can't? Or like they would turn you down. But here, I feel like any dream you have is possible. And Thais, they won't really turn you down, or maybe they don't care about your dream.
Yeah. With Thais, it'll be like, okay, best of luck.
Okay, good for you. Chok di na.
Chok di. So from the sounds of it, it was more of an innate feeling, kind of like how I experienced.
Like it's a feeling.
Where I just came here, I knew like, hey, this is where home should be. Okay, fair enough.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah, that's how I felt back when I first came here in 2017. Like, there's no explanation. It's a feeling where you got off the plane and you're like, this is where I belong.
Yeah, I was kind of like that.
Yeah.
And that feeling of driving out of Suvarnabhumi airport and you see all these ads. It's just funny to me. Everything is really funny and interesting here.
Yeah, like ads, traffic, mix of modern culture with older Thai culture. It's like a nice blend of everything. It's like a fun international city.
Actually, it's my honor to be on this channel because I watched Forrest before you knew me. Like during that COVID time, I already had this idea that I want to visit Thailand because I was watching Thai series. But as a girl, I didn't know how, and I was low-key scared. So I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube, and you're one of them that I watched, and you were talking about the quarantine and the COVID, and then I was like, trying to use you as reference about like, when should I go?
Yeah.
So happy to be here with the OG.
I'm very honored. I'm glad that my past content was able to persuade you and hopefully many others to come to Thailand, in this amazing, wonderful country, and pursue and seek out a better lifestyle and happiness. I'm honored. Thank you. The transition part that I'm very curious about is that I'm going to reference this a couple more times. Young Gen Z woman,
25 years old.
25 years old, decides, you know what, F it, I'm going to book the ticket and I'm going to go one way to Bangkok, Thailand. I want to know what was your family's reaction? And then the transition moving over to Bangkok, Thailand in 2022, correct?
2023 is when I moved here.
2023. So I want to hear about the family's reaction. What did your family say when you were like, I'm leaving South Dakota, I'm moving to Bangkok, Thailand as a new expat?
I didn't tell them that I was moving at first because I didn't know that I was going to be moving or settling here.
Yeah.
It was just more like, oh, I'm going to go on this trip and then let's see how it goes. And then like after I came to Bangkok, right, the first 1 or 2 months is kind of when I like really starting to settle down and figure things out. And it should be like, are you not coming back? And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here. So it was more like I told them after I decide.
Yeah.
It's not like there was any like, oh, I'm gonna move there now. Because if you tell your parents, usually they would turn you down and say no. They
would discourage you, and I take it your parents are just like my parents, very Chinese, very safe. Don't step out of the norm.
That's why I do things before telling people, or with my parents specifically.
Smart, but I'm sure they were pretty stressed out.
I think it's more like they have the stereotype of Thailand that is like a crusty place, but it's actually pretty developed.
And then I'm sure your parents have seen your content showcasing Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand for what it is. Have they been convinced otherwise?
They watch my videos. I don't know if I think their minds have changed. And especially going to the south and you see these really pretty beaches.
So you told them that, I think I'm going to stay here. And then they were like, okay.
Well, I mean, she said other things like, oh, you got to come back, and things like that. But I don't listen because, to be honest, I don't really listen to my parents.
You don't really listen to them?
I listen to what I think is right.
Yeah.
And what they think might not always be right. But they come from a place where they want to make sure you're safe. Which I feel safe here. Yeah. I feel so safe in Bangkok.
Yes, it's a very safe place. I agree. So then they had their concerns and they eventually said, you know what, if this makes you happy, then go for it.
I think they see what I'm doing now and they kind of have to support you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, recently, a couple months ago, you met up with the Bangkok governor, and then you're also, building a life for yourself along with all your socials. So they see, I'm assuming that they see that you're doing something correct. I think you're doing something correct.
Yeah, I try to think back to the days when I'm a nobody because I feel like you get treated differently. Or, the things that you can get in life is also different.
Yeah. It is true. We'll rewind it back to 2023. You first get over here, and then you're settling in I take an Airbnb or hotel, initially settling over here.
Oh, so actually I booked a hotel for 1 week, and during that time I was looking at condos because I feel like the first step for me to stay here is to sign a contract, and usually the contracts are 1 year for the condos. So I kind of am forcing, and at that time I didn't figure out my visa yet, but I kind of want to force myself to be stuck here, which is by signing a 1-year contract for the condo. So yeah, I found a condo, signed it, and then I moved in, maybe the second week that I was in Bangkok. And then I slowly started figuring out the visa. Yeah. So everything is good now.
Wow. That is very impressive. So at that time you were 23, 24.
24 because I had my birthday.
But I tell everybody this, and I talk about this with a lot of my expat friends. One of my good friends who's been here for 12 years, we would have these conversations, and he would tell me that what we're doing, uprooting from the United States or whatever Western country you're living in, and settling over here or Malaysia or anywhere else is considered quite extreme in the eyes of regular people. What you're doing is very extreme. What we're doing is extreme. For any expat to just uproot and live here and say F it, is out of the norm. So, and for you to do this as a 24-year-old woman is actually quite brave. So I commend you for that.
Actually, to be honest, a lot of people told me that, actually one friend, she told me I wish I was as brave as you. But I told her, it's not about bravery, it's about money. If you have money, it kind of gives you that courage to do whatever you want to do.
You signed a one-year lease at the age of 24, and then what are the next moves? Did you already have YouTube established by the time you moved over here?
No, actually when I moved to Bangkok, I had 24,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it wasn't making a lot of money. It's not really able to support my living. Actually, in the beginning, I was just doing YouTube, but then I started doing Instagram and TikTok, and I realized TikTok and Instagram is the way that Thai brands or companies find you, which is kind of sad for me because like my whole life I've been like doing YouTube, and I'm like, oh, it's not really getting me anywhere. But I still do it because I think it sounds cooler and the audience is more loyal than TikTok. I post on TikTok, but I don't scroll on TikTok. I just use it as a platform to get opportunity. I think the talk in TikTok is for toxic.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think, so TikTok, you would say TikTok is more toxic than Instagram when it comes to short form content?
I think YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. That's just me.
I haven't dealt with that. I get all my toxic comments over YouTube, but then again, I used to troll people in the past, but then now it's like they're having revenge on me, so, but I still love them. They give me engagement. Anyways, the next question I'm very curious to ask is, there's a plethora of content of like guys filming themselves like, hey, I'm a young single foreign guy in Thailand, you know, I'm dating the local women. I'm guilty of this. But what I'm curious is hearing your experiences as a foreign woman, moving here to Bangkok, Thailand as a young expat, and then dating the locals here. So I'm curious to hear about your experiences. How's dating over here from a foreign woman perspective?
To be honest, I don't really have that much dating experience with Thai guys because I deleted it for like 3 or 4 months because I was tired of the dating apps. Yeah, so I just deleted it for like, in the beginning I did go on like a couple of dates, but it was just like have dinner type of thing and it didn't really get any further.
No spark, no chemistry from those dinners? No.
I try to erase the memory of those guys. But yeah, anyway, so I deleted it for like 3 months, the dating apps, and then I downloaded it again because I saw a comment on YouTube that was like, it's better to try than to cut all the guys and not try. So I was like, it kind of makes sense. So then I downloaded it for like a couple of days and to see what it was like. And then I matched with a few guys, and then I went on a date with one of them.
One guy.
Oh, actually 2 guys. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one, not my type. The second one is my current boyfriend.
Who I've met a couple months ago. I think he's a really great guy. He's a stand-up guy, so I think he's a great choice. So just like foreign guys using apps here in Bangkok, you go through frustrations. I went through frustrations. I didn't like it, and like Tinder, Bumble, and then after that I just deleted it.
Actually, for girls it's a bit harder because not a lot of Thai guys know English. But a lot of Thai girls, they know English and Mandarin.
Mandarin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they want a Chinese boyfriend?
I don't know.
Whoa.
But if you're a foreigner guy that come to Thailand and don't get a girlfriend, there is something wrong with your ability to pursue women.
Wait, what was that last part? Sorry?
Like if you're a foreigner guy that come to Thailand and can't get a girlfriend, they don't got riz.
I tell guys this all the time. It's dating here is easy mode. All you need to do is just meet the basic standards. Take care of yourself, have a job or have something going on for you. At least be nice and fairly presentable, and then that's it. All you really need to do is have the bare minimum as a guy. If you don't meet any of the bare minimums, then you need to go back and you need to work on yourself.
It's not that the girls are easy to get, but it's just because if you put a foreigner guy next to a Thai guy, it seems like the foreigner guy is overall a bit better.
No riz. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think for your case, you've gone a couple, and you dated just mostly Thai guys. Did you date any foreign guys or any expat guys?
No foreigner guys.
Okay.
I think I went on 2 dates with Thai guys. They spoke English, but I just...
What was it that you didn't like about them? Did they come off a bit too soft-spoken? Were they had no charisma going on?
Okay, there was one guy, the appearance wasn't my type, but I just wanted to go and see, what is it like, and just find someone to hang out with because at that time I was by myself and it was a bit lonely. But I kind of treated, oh, okay, maybe just go on like as a friend. But usually, you know, guys, they don't want a friend.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Definitely
Okay. So yeah, it's more about the appearance. It's not that I'm picky, but it's just like the basic, like, okay, clean your nails, your teeth, your hair. Just take care of yourself.
Standard grooming.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have standard grooming. They didn't really upkeep their appearances.
In my opinion, no.
Oh my, okay.
But there was another guy that was okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like serious.
Do you think that didn't work out because you guys had two different personality, like the personality types were not a match?
Actually, I think personality, it was okay. Like we kind of vibe, but it's just our position. Like I wasn't like he was about to go abroad, and I was about to stay here.
Oh, okay. Different life
Different
forces.
life path.
Life path, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one would have been okay, but let's not talk about him.
Okay, that's fine. Stuff like that. Best of luck, but you guys are in two different life courses. Now, your current boyfriend that me and my girlfriend have met. Tell me everything about him. What made things like spark?
Actually, to be as a girl, I don't really look for excitement anymore. I like stable. I want someone stable and give me a sense of security, and I think that's with most girls. So actually, we were first messaging on Bumble, right? And then he was texting me a lot, but I was like, okay, let's just talk when we meet in person, because I was afraid we won't have anything to talk about on the first date. But I think to him, he thought that was different because usually girls are not that direct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess being direct as a girl kind of turns some guys off because you're supposed to be a mystery.
Yeah.
But that's not my style. And I was like, I love Thailand, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm studying Thai at that time. I was like, I'm studying Thai.
You were very direct with
I was
them.
direct. I was like, let's talk more when we meet. And then we scheduled a first date, and we met at Terminal 21.
Yeah.
But then we went over to Tom Smith at Central World.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah.
So you had your first date. Tell me briefly about the whole first date with you and your now wonderful boyfriend.
Okay, he spoke English, which is pretty shocking, but he had like a Philippine English accent, but then I kind of like American English accent.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gave me a tour guide vibe because he was like telling me all these things about Thailand and like showing me around, and he seems like more like a friend. He doesn't seem like he has other motives, because you know how some guys, they go on dates and they want something more.
Yes.
But he didn't give me that vibe. It felt like he was it felt like he was a tour guide showing me Bangkok.
He's very chill, very hospitable.
Yeah. And then we just chatted, nothing special. But after we ate Tom Smith, we walked over to Gason at a cafe.
Yeah.
And then we were talking a bit more. And then I told him that I want to be a content creator. At that time, I only had like 3,000 followers on Instagram, and I wasn't big. And I think he seemed pretty like open to this idea. It wasn't like he was judging me.
He was supportive.
Not supportive yet, because it's like, okay, let's see what's up with this girl first.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about if we wanted a second date. Like, are we gonna have a second date? Or like we were discussing if we should. Oh no, actually, it was more like we're talking about the second date. Like, oh, are we gonna have second date? And then I was like, if you are seeing other girls, I don't need to be one of them.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was tired of all these guys that were going around. So I just said that on the first date.
We call them F-boys, yeah.
Oh, yeah, F-boys. I was tired of like F-boys are just,
Yeah.
So I said that, and it didn't turn him off, luckily, because I feel like a lot of guys, if they hear that, they would be like, oh, like, what?
Yeah. So you were direct and you were open about your intentions. You were like,
Yep.
I don't want to be one of your girls.
To him, I was different than the other girls. Like, it's like, whoa. And I guess he probably likes a bit of Western mindset, which, like Asian but Western, or like traditional but.
Yeah, I think for more Asian guys, for the most Asian guys in Asia are a little bit taken aback by like more Western direct. But it seems like he was open to it. He was like, okay, and just let it roll.
Yeah, actually the biggest green flag is that change the date time from like 7 to 4. Because usually guys, they want to have a later date time, like 7 p.m. for just in case, you know.
Yeah.
But because he pushed the time up, so that's how I know that he's not like F-boy.
So from 7 p.m. the day
To
was
4.
to 4 p.m.
Oh.
So earlier.
Earlier.
Nice.
Nothing can happen.
Yeah.
If you meet at 4 p.m., I don't think. He had to leave at like 7 for this appointment, so.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, bye.
Okay, so I mean, from what you've told me, he came off as very non-threatening, very open, comes off very more international-minded, open to experiences of your background as well.
I think he's more American than me because he likes steaks and burgers, and I like noodles
Support
and
that.
soup.
Sorry?
I like noodles and soup.
Yeah. He doesn't like noodles and soup.
He had it his whole life.
No more bami or kway teow. He's more about steak. Good. From then, it's completely progressed, and you guys are now boyfriend girlfriend.
I think we were official after like 10 days.
After 10 days?
10 days.
Oh, that was very quick then.
Yeah, that was October 10th, and I kind of signaled to him like, oh, it's 10/10.
Yeah.
And like it's gonna be a special day. And then I think he got the signal, and then he asked me, "Ban ban ban."
Yeah. Oh, in Thai, he was like,
No, in English,
oh,
but
in English, boyfriend, girlfriend? And then you're like, okay.
It was longer. It was more like he gave like a big speech. And
In
then,
person?
In person. Like
Okay.
we're just sitting, and then we're talking. And then he gave like a long, like, when I get into a relationship, it's going to be a serious one. Da, 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 da. And it's like, do you want to be my girlfriend?
Nice.
And then I was like,
This is something from a drama. I like it. It's cute.
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So nothing juicy, actually. No excitement or like spark.
It's stable.
Yeah,
It's
I
not-
like
yeah.
stable. I like stable.
Stability. Okay, good, good. How long have you guys been dating?
1.5 years.
1.5 years. And then I say with any relationship, you know, you guys had, you know, things have been good, arguments like any other relationship, and then arguments are resolved.
We never had an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was only like a few times when I had something in my mind and I don't want to say it because I want to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you gotta tell me, like it shows on your face, you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he brings it out of you and just say it.
Yeah.
Now, from being in a relationship for more than a year and a half, correct? What are some cultural differences that you would have between you and your boyfriend?
Not really.
No?
Not much cultural difference. Because he's kind of Western and I kind of like Thai culture, so that he just tells me a lot about the culture and the language.
Yeah.
So I learn a lot from him.
So there's a base and a lot of familiarity established because your focus is on Thai culture. He's grown up in Thai culture, but then he likes Western stuff. So it's more of like a cultural exchange with you guys and sharing ideas and whatnot. Okay, so yeah, I think that's really cool.
My biggest advice is don't look for it too hard.
Don't look for it too
Don't
hard.
look for love too hard. Like it just shows up when you least expect. It happens. It happened to me and a lot of people I know.
I agree with that statement 1,000%. It's happened to me too, where I found it when I least expected.
Yeah, so just live your life, but if you low-key want it, just kind of manifest it and hope it shows up one day.
Yeah, nice, great words. Final concluding question. You've been here for 2 years. You've already done quite a lot for the short 2 years that you've been in. What is next for Joyce Sin?
I want to stay here as long as possible.
Yeah.
I don't see myself being anywhere, but if it changes, I'll update you in the future.
Wonderful. So Bangkok, Thailand is going to be a home for you just like it is for me and for many of our audience out there. Wonderful. Fair enough. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to doing this interview and to educate. If you guys are just a young 20-something-year-old woman wanting to leave wherever country and live in Thailand or any other country in Southeast Asia, she's the prime example, and that if she's done it, you can definitely do it too. Any lasting words or any lasting advice?
It's not as hard as you think, as long as you have money and visa.
Fair enough. That's fair. Joyce, thank you very much. And thank you for watching. I'm going to link Joyce's socials down in the description below, and hope you guys get something about it. So, love you guys. Take care. Be kind to each other. Bye.